The last time we spoke, I had just witnessed something truly horrifying. A dark entity, a twisted amalgamation of shadow and malice, had killed another spirit right before my eyes. The old woman's spirit, the one who tried to warn me, was gone, absorbed by this thing. Now, I was its new target. I scrambled back, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs, but there was nowhere to run. The entity's form seemed to ripple, expanding and contracting like a grotesque, living lung. It fixed its gaze on me, a gaze I felt not with my eyes, but with a deep, chilling dread that seeped into my very soul. A voice, ancient and guttural, echoed not in the air, but directly inside my head. It said, "You are mine." I knew, with a certainty that was both terrifying and absolute, that this was about the third eye, my third eye. The very thing that allowed me to see this nightmare world was now a beacon, drawing this monster to me. It wanted to merge with me, to use my sight, to become one with my consciousness. The thought was so violating, so repugnant, that a wave of nausea washed over me. I had to get out. I had to get back to my body. I squeezed my eyes shut, focusing every ounce of my will on the image of my room, my bed, the familiar weight of my blanket. I imagined the feeling of waking up, the grogginess, the slow return to reality. I repeated the mantra in my head, "Wake up, wake up now." For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. The entity's presence grew stronger, a suffocating pressure building around me. Its voice slithered through my thoughts again, whispering promises of power, of seeing everything, of knowing all secrets. It was a tempting poison, a siren's call in the abyss. But then, I felt it a faint pull, a tether. It was my connection to my physical self. I clung to that feeling like a drowning person to a piece of driftwood. I pulled, I fought, I screamed in the silent landscape of my mind. And then, with a violent, wrenching jolt, my eyes snapped open. I was back. I was in my bed, drenched in a cold sweat. The first rays of dawn were filtering through my window, painting my room in soft gray light. The world was blessedly, beautifully silent. No guttural voices, no shadowy figures. Just the gentle hum of the refrigerator from the kitchen and the distant sound of a bird chirping. I gasped for air, my lungs burning as if I hadn't breathed in minutes. I sat up, my body trembling uncontrollably. Was it just a dream? A hyper-realistic, terrifying nightmare? I touched my face, my arms, solid and real. It had to be a dream. But as I swung my legs over the side of the bed, a chill that had nothing to do with the morning air snaked up my spine. The cold wasn't just on my skin, it was in the room. It's a deep, unnatural cold, the kind that feels like it's sucking the warmth out of you. I stood up and my breath hitched. On the polished wooden floor, leading from the foot of my bed to the closed door, were wet, dark footprints. They weren't human. They were misshapen, elongated, as if something heavy and amorphous had dragged itself across my floor. And they were fresh. My blood ran cold. It wasn't a dream. It had followed me. My first instinct was to run, but where could I go? It had crossed over from the spirit world into mine. The very laws of reality I had clung to were shattering. I grabbed my phone, my fingers fumbling with the screen. I needed to call someone, anyone. But what would I say? "Hi, there's a transdimensional monster in my apartment that left spooky footprints on my floor." They'd think I was crazy. I felt utterly, hopelessly alone. The sun was rising, casting long shadows across my room. But one shadow in the corner near my wardrobe didn't seem to belong. It was darker than the others, an inky blot that seemed to absorb the light around it. It pulsed, faintly. I couldn't stay there. I threw on the first clothes I could find, grabbed my keys and wallet, and fled my apartment, not daring to look back at the pulsing shadow in the corner. I ran out into the street, The morning bustle of the city, a jarring contrast to the silent horror I had just escaped. People were heading to work, grabbing coffee, living their normal lives. I wanted to scream at them, to warn them, but I was invisible, trapped in my own private nightmare. I spent the day wandering a ghost in my own city. I tried to distract myself, going to a busy cafe, a crowded park, a noisy shopping mall. But the feeling of being watched never left me. Every time I glanced at a reflective surface, a shop window, a car's side mirror, even the screen of my own phone, I saw it. For a split second, a flicker in my peripheral vision, a tall, distorted shadow standing just behind me. When I'd whirl around, there was nothing there. Strangers giving me strange looks. It was toying with me, hunting me. It was enjoying my fear. I felt like a mouse being stalked by a cat that could walk through walls and defy reality. The sun began to set, and my terror escalated. I couldn't go back to my apartment. I knew it would be waiting for me there. I decided to go to my friend Chloe's place. She lived across town. Maybe being with someone else in a different place would break its connection to me. I took the subway, the packed train car offering a false sense of security. The flickering lights of the tunnel made my nerves fray. At every station, as the doors opened and closed, I scanned the platform, half expecting to see it standing there, waiting for me. When I finally got to Chloe's apartment building, a wave of relief washed over me. I buzzed her intercom, and her cheerful voice was the most comforting sound I had heard all day. Hey, what's up? Come on up, she said. I pushed through the heavy front door and practically ran to the elevator. But as the doors slid shut, the lights inside the elevator car flickered violently and then went out, plunging me into absolute darkness. My breath caught in my throat. It was here. A profound cold filled the small space, and the air grew thick and heavy, pressing in on me from all sides. The emergency light flickered on, casting a dim, red glow. And there, reflected in the polished steel of the elevator doors, was its form, coalescing from the shadows behind me. It wasn't just a shadow anymore. It was more solid, more defined. Tendrils of darkness snaked out from its main body, caressing the walls of the elevator. I was trapped. There was no escape. I hammered on the door, screaming Chloe's name, my voice hoarse with panic. The entity's voice boomed in my head, drowning out my own thoughts. There is nowhere you can run. You are part of me now. Its form loomed over me, and I felt a pressure on the back of my head, right over my third eye. It was an icy, piercing sensation, as if ethereal fingers were trying to pry open my skull. The world around me began to dissolve. The red emergency light, the steel walls of the elevator, my own reflection at all, started to warp and stretch, like paint melting off a canvas. The solid reality I knew was being peeled away, layer by layer. The mundane world faded, replaced by the gray, desolate landscape of the spirit realm. The transition wasn't gentle like before. It was violent, a brutal tearing of my consciousness from its physical anchor. One moment I was in a metal box. The next, I was standing on that same cracked, barren earth from my dream. But this time, I wasn't just an observer. I was fully here. I could feel the dead, cold ground beneath my bare feet. I could feel the non-existent wind whisper against my skin. My physical body was gone, left behind in that elevator. I was a spirit, trapped. A wave of despair so profound it felt like a physical blow crashed over me. I was lost between worlds, untethered and utterly alone. And then, I felt it. A cold, heavy presence directly behind me. I didn't need to turn around. I didn't need my third eye to see it. I could feel its chilling proximity, the sheer weight of its ancient evil. The guttural voice echoed all around me, and inside my head, a final, triumphant declaration. Welcome home. I was standing in the spirit world with the entity that had hunted me, the entity that had marked me, standing right behind me. And I knew, with a horrifying certainty, that this time there was no waking up. Thanks for watching this far. The story of Mai is getting darker, and I'm on the edge of my seat. What do you think will happen to her? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you're enjoying this series, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next terrifying chapter. Stay safe and see you in the next one.